All right, let's dive into something that's both fascinating and, honestly, a little scary in the world of decentralized networks. We're talking about the Sybil attack.
Hey everyone, and welcome to CodeAccessHub. You know the drill. We take really complex tech stuff and make it super simple to understand. So I want you to think about this for a second. What if one person, just one, could become an entire online army? What if they could pretend to be thousands or even millions of different people all at once? The kind of power they'd have? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll figure out what this many-faced attack really is. Then, we'll look at the chaos it can cause. After that, we'll check out some real-world attacks, some pretty wild stuff. And finally, we'll see how blockchains are built to defend against this. Ready? Let's jump in.
All right, Section 1, the many-faced attack. So first things first, what in the world is a Sybil attack?
Okay, so here's the deal. A Sybil attack is basically when one single entity, one person or group, creates a whole bunch of fake identities. The goal? To totally subvert a peer-to-peer network. It's like one person showing up to a vote, but they're wearing thousands of different masks. And each mask gets a vote. They can gain this massive, totally unfair influence over the whole system.
And this quote from Judith S. Donath just hits the nail on the head. She said, "One can have as many electronic personas as one has time and energy to create." And that's the scary part, right? In the online world, it can be dirt cheap to just invent new people. The only real limit is how much effort an attacker wants to put in.
So where did this name Sybil even come from? It's actually a pretty cool story. It goes back to a book from 1973 called Sybil, which is about a woman with dissociative identity disorder, multiple personalities. Fast forward to 2002, a researcher at Microsoft named John R. Desur saw the connection. He thought, hey, that's just like what an attacker does online, and he coined the term Sybil Attack. And what started as a concept in a research paper has, become a massive, real-world problem for everything from blockchains to social media.
Okay, so these attacks come in a couple of flavors. You've got your direct attack. This is pretty straightforward. The bad guys' fake identities or nodes go right up to the good guys and try to influence them. Then there's the indirect attack, which is a bit more sneaky. Here, the attacker uses their fake nodes to corrupt a few middlemen nodes. And then those middlemen, who might not even know they're compromised, spread the attacker's influence throughout the rest of the network. It's way harder to detect.
Okay, so we know what a Sybil attack is. Now let's talk about why it's so terrifying. What's the real damage here? This is where things get serious. So let's get right to it. What can an attacker actually do with a fake digital army? I mean, what's the point of all this deception?
Well, in the world of blockchain, the ultimate goal, the holy grail for an attacker, boils down to one number: 51%. If a Sybil attack lets someone control more than half of a network's power, they own it. They can basically take over the entire blockchain. This is what we call a 51% attack, and it is the stuff of nightmares for any crypto project.
And when an attack like that succeeds, it's a total disaster. The attacker could literally hijack the blockchain. They could block your transactions from ever going through. They could even reverse their own payments to double spend their money. Imagine buying something and then just taking your money back. But it's not just about money. They could unmask anonymous users or unleash an army of bots on social media to spread all sorts of misinformation. It's a huge, huge problem.
And look, this isn't just theory. This stuff happens. We're talking about real attacks that have caused millions of dollars in damage. So let's look at some of the most infamous cases. Take Ethereum Classic back in 2020. It got hit with not one, but multiple 51% Sybil attacks. The attackers literally took control, rewrote the recent history of the blockchain, and made off with millions by double spending their coins.
And if you think that's bad, check out what happened to Verge in 2021. A 51% attack there was so devastating, the attacker managed to rewrite more than 200 times days of the blockchain's history. 200 days! That just completely destroys the trust in the entire network. And like I said, it's not always about stealing crypto directly. The Tor network, which is all about keeping you anonymous online, has been fighting off Sybil attacks for years. Attackers will run hundreds of malicious nodes trying to figure out who is who. In one crazy case in 2020, a single attacker controlled a full 25% of all Tor exit points, just so they could spy on traffic and steal Bitcoin.
But let's bring this out of the crypto world for a second, because you've definitely seen a Sybil attack in action. I'm talking about the bot armies on social media. Yeah, all those spam accounts on X or Twitter
are basically a massive, ongoing Sybil attack.
Just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, get this. In the middle of 2022, Twitter said it removed 44 million fake accounts in just 1 month. And these bots aren't just annoying spam. They're used to manipulate public opinion, push propaganda, and run all kinds of scams.
So this actually gives us a great case study in how to fight back. Remember when the whole $8 blue checkmark thing was introduced? The logic behind it was a direct defense against Sybil attacks. The idea was simple. Make it expensive to be fake. If you have to pay $8 a month and provide a phone number and a credit card for every single bot, suddenly running an army of thousands of fake accounts becomes incredibly expensive.
And that exact idea, making it expensive to cheat, that is the absolute core of how blockchains protect themselves.
It's a field called crypto-economic security, and it's brilliant. The entire philosophy is to design a system where it costs you way more to attack it than you could ever possibly make from a successful attack. In other words, you make playing by the rules the most profitable thing you can do. And the way blockchains do this is through their consensus mechanisms. You've heard of them. Proof of work and proof of stake. So with proof of work, what Bitcoin uses, you have to prove you've done a ton of computational work. To launch a Sybil attack, you'd need to control more than half the computing power on the network, which would cost billions, literally billions, in specialized hardware and electricity. It's just not feasible. Then you have proof of stake, which Ethereum uses. Here, instead of computing power, you put up a huge economic stake. You lock up a bunch of coins. To attack the network, you'd need to own more than half of all the coins. Not only would that be insanely expensive, but if you attack the network, the value of your own coins would plummet. You'd be destroying your own investment. Both systems are designed to make cheating a really bad financial decision.
So all of this leads to a really big question for our future. In this increasingly decentralized and anonymous online world, how do we actually prove who is real? How do we verify that one identity is one person? This whole battle against Sybil attacks, it's really a fight for the future of online trust.
Hey, if you want to go deeper on stuff like this, make sure to find us over on YouTube at CodeAccessHub. If you got something out of this explainer, do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. We've got plenty more coming. Thanks so much for watching.